Today's episode is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/acknowledge. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Hey guys, on this week's episode, we acknowledge the adoption triad. Hello and welcome to another episode of Acknowledge with me, Chris Laudando. Now, some of you already are familiar with my guest on today's show. His name's Scott Holden. He is the host of the podcast ThatMan on FatMan, which focuses on everything Kevin Smith and around the world of Kevin Smith. A couple of weeks ago, I was at the Connecticut Comic-Con with my buddy Scott Meany, and this was, I think, just before I started recording the first episode of Acknowledge, or around there, and we were talking, because Scott Holden is my tech support guy for this podcast. He hosts my website. I give him the files, he puts it up on the site, and then it gets streamed to iTunes and Stitcher, so he's my tech support guy. And he was telling me, he pulled me aside at the con, and he said, I got a great story for you that I want to tell in your podcast that I never told anybody before, never really went public with it. And I was like, what? Well, what is it? And he told me that he was adopted. I was like, oh, okay. He then explained briefly, gave me like a little synopsis of his experience at finding his biological parents, and it's really cool. So let's hear what he had to say. So I heard you became an uncle again.
Nothing calculated there. Yeah, I did, as a matter of fact. Waka waka. No, yeah, yes, 3 days ago.
Congratulations.
Yes, my sister in Florida had a little baby girl whose name is Ava.
That's a pretty name.
Ava Westbury.
Westbury.
Yes, different last name.
Okay. Now, is there a story behind that?
Oh, yeah. There's a long story behind that.
Well, let's hear it, because you hinted, you had mentioned something to me at the Connecticut Con in, where was it?
Connecticut?
No, where in Connecticut was it? I've totally forgot. I'm trying to...
Oh, you mean...
Stanford? Was it Stanford?
No, it was Bridgewater.
Bridgewater.
I would say Bridgewater, but no.
Bridgeport,
yeah.
Bridgeport, Connecticut. You had mentioned that... you were adopted.
Yes.
And you never really opened up about it so much, but you wanted to save it for my show. And I don't know what I did to deserve that. So that's a pretty deep story. So you gave me like a little bit of a synopsis, but you said one day we're going to come on your show.
I'll tell the whole story.
And we're going to tell the whole story. So,
and the only reason I said that is it's probably, one of my better stories, if you will. But I mean... Yeah, I was adopted because, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But learned a lot through the experience of finding my biological family.
When did you find out that you were? Did your adopted parents, when did they tell you?
I always knew. As long as I can remember, I've known I was adopted.
How?
My parents did not do the, not tell you thing. And find out later in life that, what, you're not?
So they told you from the get?
Yeah, as long as I can remember being conscious, I can remember knowing I was adopted.
Okay. Now, did you often wonder, I guess growing up, when you become an adolescent, you start to develop your own personality, and then maybe you see the difference between you and your parents, and then maybe started to wonder, I'm into this. I wonder if my real dad is into that, or my mom's into, like, did you get that kind of like those feelings?
I don't
like, oh, I'm feeling this way. I wonder why.
I never had that. Here's the thing that I definitely always remembered. Hey, so what's your background?
Uh-huh.
Irish, English, German, da 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 da. You don't really know unless it's in the information that your parents get when they adopt you.
Is there adoption papers like attached to your birth certificate? How does it work? I'm not familiar with it.
Neither was I until all this came out. They legally change your name at birth,
Okay.
and so when you're given a name at birth, and then as soon as you're adopted, it's changed legally based on, I guess, the parent's desire or whatever.
Is there a historical record that show what it was prior? That's public to you, or that can be censored by the your parents?
I think it's censored by law. So, in a sense, I was issued an original birth certificate. Then that birth certificate is, I don't know if it's destroyed or just filed away, but the new reissued birth certificate, once adopted,
overrides it.
Yeah, overrides.
Yeah, that's like if you get married. Let's say if you get married in City Hall or whatever, and if you wanted to change your name, not only like the bride, but let's say you wanted to change your name. Scott Holden wanted to now become Scott. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
You can, at that point, you can change your name right there. Because a friend of mine got married and he shortened his last name.
Wow, a legal loophole.
Yeah, in New York anyway. I don't know how it works in New Jersey, but he changed his last name, and legally that's what his last name is to what he changed it to. So it's just not the woman that can take your name.
That makes sense, but I bet you no one really knew that because no one thought of those in those terms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how many guys want to change their name when they're married?
Right. Okay, so it was told to you from the beginning.
Yeah, I always knew I was adopted.
When did the questioning start? The curiosity.
I mean, the curiosity.
I guess it's always there, right?
Yeah, it's always there, but it's also, since you always know, I don't know that. I mean, it's sort of like, I guess if you're born blind, you don't know the difference. You know what I mean? Like, so I never felt, at least I didn't think I felt weird about being adopted in life until maybe later in life.
Okay.
But yeah, so it felt, I guess it felt normal to me.
Wow.
Yeah, and I never really had any, as I said to you before, my parents who adopted me are my parents. That's
right.
That's whenever I address my parents, talk about my mother or father, those are the people I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just happen to have another set somewhere.
When does the curiosity start to become a manhunt?
In not long after I got married.
Okay, so it took that long.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you got married?
So, actually, it was when I was in Chubb. So we're talking 97, 96 in there.
All right. Technology started to
come about.
Yeah.
The internet is on the scene by now. Windows 95 has come out.
I always remember that the cover of the newspaper of Windows 95 had like these two like armed guards. Like, do you remember that picture of Microsoft like Windows 95? They had like these armed guards like standing in front of like the shipment, like on a what do you call those what do they call those things with the forklifts pick up?
Forklift.
No. But the forklift pick up the pallets.
Oh yeah.
Of like all of these Microsoft Windows 95 things, and it was like the cover of like I think it was the New York Times or something with them, because it was just changing the world forever in technology.
Which is ridiculous because it was essentially the first Windows operating system that you no longer needed DOS.
Yeah, well, it came.
Let's face it. If you ran 3.1, it turned your machine into a boat anchor. So it was the only operating system that couldn't. Once you installed it, you couldn't really do anything because half of it was allocated to running the operating system.
Some tech talk right there. I don't know what the fuck you just said, but.
So Windows 95 was their first attempt at ripping off Mac and having a functional GUI.
Was it the first time? I heard like
they tried.
There's a lot of corporate espionage going on with Gates and all those guys.
Yeah. Well, it was the first time they actually. It was the first time
successfully
a Windows operating system ran in a GUI mode, and you didn't have to go into DOS unless you wanted to.
Okay. So for all the millennials that are listening to this, like, what the fuck are these two old guys talking about?
And DOS was a command line utility operating system stolen from Unix.
And Space Invaders was a once very big game.
Well, it's good that we brought people back because the technology, the main interwebs technology at the time when I started searching was America Online. AOL.
So it had to be like in the back of your head the whole time, like you must have, I don't know. It's like I have this piece of technology now that can possibly help me find my parents.
And I think it really had to do, I think more of it had to do with the fact that I just got married, you know, big changes in life, and we were moving towards, you know, family, kids, all that kind of thing. So you start thinking about, you know, your origins and like you said, hey, technology is here now. Mm-hmm. Maybe this can help. So what I did was I went to a friend. We're friends with this, you know, other couple, and this woman named Judy, her ex-husband, whose name was Tom Collins.
Okay.
And who at one point owned a bar, too.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. But
destiny.
Another thing that he did was he was a private investigator and had done, you know, adoption stuff and had even been, I think, on Geraldo Rivera or Maury Povich or maybe both of them, you know, in that time. You know, all those shows are very hot, too. So he had been on those shows talking about adoption and everything. So she put me in touch with him. Because they were still friends, even though they were.
This is the beginning of a Lifetime television movie.
It sounds like it, doesn't it? It really kind of weird. So the first thing he told me to do is, all right, you got to go and you got to write for what they call and I'm doing air quotes, even though no one can see me, non-identifying information. And so since I knew who I was, Catholic Charities.
Okay.
That's the adoption agency.
So you knew you had a certain amount of information to build this search on, a foundation.
I was I know I was born when I was born in 1970.
Okay.
You know, I know where I was born. Okay. I know what town. I was born in Florida.
What town?
I was born in Lakeland County, Lakeland.
Oh, okay.
Lakeland, Florida.
Yeah, that's right by Disney World.
That's actually more like by Okeechobee.
Okeechobee?
Yeah.
Well, it's off of Interstate 4, I think, right? I think it is. It's on the road.
It's Polk County. It's Lakeland is the town. So, all right. I forgot where I was. Yeah. I had these bits of information. So, adoption agency, date of birth, place of birth. That's my starting facts. As he said, the first thing you can do, and I'm apparently legally allowed to do this, write to the adoption agency requesting non-identifying information. Non-identifying information is any information that they can provide that my birth mother or birth parent, whoever, filled out prior that has no specific details as to
who she is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it said things like
name, obviously, not
there,
right?
Not there. But that she was allergic to lemons. She was diabetic. She had freckles.
Okay.
I don't know why they put that in. Just a general description, I guess. There were some other things I can't really remember exactly now, but it gave. No, it didn't give her age. I don't think. I don't know if it gave her age, but it gave enough of a piece to start.
Okay.
But anyway, so I wrote for my non-identifying information.
Okay.
And I talked to this guy, you know, Tom Collins, and he was like, all right, here's what you need to do. But he's like, you really can't do anything until you get that. And so when you get that, give me a call and we'll take it from there. And maybe he said, you know, there's this way you can go, there's that way you can, and he would speculate, but he would always pull it back to, but you need that non-identifying information first. So in my mind, that's what I need to do, and I can put it out of my head until then. So I do that. Write for the non-identifying information. Took, I want to say 3 to 6 months, maybe.
And this is 1997.
Yeah, or 96. So maybe I wrote in 96, and it might have came in, but there was definitely a period of time. Maybe it was 3 months, but it definitely took a while. It was no rapid response.
So this was a request that you made to this adoption agency.
Catholic Charities Adoption Agency.
Okay. So you were Catholic.
Yes. Well, no. Well, I mean, anyone can go to a Catholic Charities Adoption Agency, although it's more likely that someone who is Catholic would.
Hey, guys, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I need to take a minute, or roughly 30 to 45 seconds, to tell you about Audible.com. For you, the listeners of Acknowledge with me, Chris Laudando, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. I personally recommend checking out Tough Shit by Kevin Smith, or Joyland by Stephen King, or maybe you're into hobbits and shit and you want to check out The Hobbit, or Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, or maybe you're into The Hunger Games or vampires and you want to check, I don't know. There's over 150,000 titles to choose from. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/acknowledge. Again, that's audibletrial.com/acknowledge for your free audiobook.
So, now, finally got the non-identifying information, which was mind-blowing at the time. I may even have it somewhere. Because it did start to lay out details. You know, just seeing like allergic to lemons, freckles, diabetes, you know, all these things that finally it's like, oh, wow, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Because you are diabetic?
I am now.
So were you like, oh shit, I'm going to be a diabetic when you saw that? Possibly?
It's almost fucking weird. It's almost like seeing it made me diabetic. Because within 2 years, I went full-blown diabetic.
Oh, man.
Or maybe 3. By the time my son was born, by the time he was 1, I was showing signs. But anyway, but back then in 1997, no diabetes. And got the non-identifying information. Here's where it gets very interesting. So this is a Saturday. I don't know the exact date, but let's just say for the sake of argument, it's like June or July maybe. Saturday, I get the information. I'm all hopped up and happy. I call Tom Collins. We start talking. He's like, all right, here's what you need to do. Here's the plan. And he's getting me prepared for the long slog. And, you know, he's like, all right, so now you're going to do this. One of the things he advised to do was just to call up the adoption agency and ask them point blank. Sometimes you'll get a caring human being who will just say, here's the name. Mm-hmm. He said, but save that for last.
Which is against the law, I would assume.
Yeah. Oh, totally against the law. But I mean, it's not something that either of you will advertise.
Right.
Okay. So now I'm also going to reveal some things that may help other people in the Triad.
Okay.
I've come to find out that there's something called the Triad, which is the adoption triangle. And it's comprised of adoptees, adoptors, and people who give up children for adoption.
Okay.
So when they refer to the adoption triad, that's what they mean. Found out through the search, which was very short. So on Saturday, I got my non-identifying information, talked to Tom. The last thing he said to me was, oh, are you on the internet? And I said, sure. Yeah, I am on the internet. He's like, go on. Are you on America Online? Because back then, the internet was America Online, folks. It certainly was where all the chatting was and all that kind of shit. Well, it turns out that I guess Florida is a sort of weird baby farm for the North. Because there was actually, first of all, there was adoption sections, you know, people looking. So a triad section of AOL, people looking for, you know, adopted people in the triad, mothers, kids, the whole thing. There was one specific group within that AOL heading called Born in Florida, Adopted in New York.
Wow.
Yeah. So, apparently this is so common. It had its own group. You know, its own section of specific people who were born in Florida, adopted in New York.
Was there a group of people that named their kid Tom Collins?
No, there was not. There was no Tom Collins group. So I went on the Born in Florida, and he was the one who said, there's even a fucking Born in Florida, adopted in New York. He was the one who pointed me out that apparently there was some sort of baby farm, and this is very common. So I post onto this board. I was on AOL like everybody else. So I said, okay, if you were my biological mother, because that was the information I had, you would be this age. Mm-hmm. You know, you would be at the time. Here's what I transcribed. The non-identifying information.
You'd be diabetic. You would have freckles. You'd be allergic to
almost,
lemons.
word for word. Mm-hmm. So out of the non-identifying information. and hit send or whatever it was, post. And that was it. Went about my day. And so the next morning is Sunday.
Okay.
So officially started my search, I would say, when I got my non-identifying information that Saturday. Okay. My search began. Everything else was preliminary. The next morning I wake up and I'm going out to get bagels. It's probably like 8 or 9 in the morning. It's really early on a Sunday. But I figure, let me go check my email before I run out the door. And there's a little bit in the back of your head like, ooh, maybe somebody sent something about the adoption thing. So I'm on AOL doing whatever I'm doing.
America Online.
Okay. All right, here we go. And then an IM pops up.
Wow.
That's an AOL IM, which would be an AOL instant message. So it's an interrupt message, one that just pops, a chat message. And someone said, saw your post, saw you're online. Tell me more about your adoption. So I'm like...
What was the screen name? Do you remember?
I don't. And I don't remember even if it implied sex, like so you didn't know if it was a man or a woman.
Okay.
And I said, I remember my response, what do you want to know? And she said, I don't even remember what her question was at that point. But she asked a couple of preliminary questions, definitely relating to the non-identifying information.
Okay.
Specifics. And I was like, And then this I will never forget as long as I live. The message popped up. Bloop. I think I may know your mother.
And you must have, at that moment, what type of emotions? What were the emotions for that? That must have been.
It was
crazy.
Very simple. You're a fucking asshole.
Really?
Why would you do this to somebody?
You went right to the negative.
That was exactly what I said. I said, you're a fucking jerk. Why the fuck would you do this? Because what the fuck are the chances of someone saying, I mean, I posted this yesterday. Now I'm online. Someone's like, I know. I thought it was some sociopath fucking, out to fuck with someone's heartstrings.
You went right to the negative, though.
I did. I was pissed.
You would think it would be the opposite. You would have.
No way.
You would have been like, that would have been me. I would have been like,
I thought
have some hope, and then
I went right to why the fuck would you fuck with me?
Okay.
I went to because it's cruel. I saw it as cruel. If you're gonna this person asked me 3 questions, and they know know who my mother is.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances of that?
Right.
So I respond to that, and she said,
like angry. You
respond I said, that's fucked up. Why would you fuck with someone? Why would you mess with someone's head like that? This is really not cool. Something to that degree. And she said, the response was, I am shaking right now. Here is my phone number.
Oh, wow. And that was her?
No. Okay. So I'm like, this is fucked up. And maybe there was a couple more tweets because she definitely. All right. Oh yeah. I say tweets, but they weren't tweets. They were instant messages. This was key. So she said, "All right. So I swear to God, I'm shaking right now. Here's my number." And she said, "Is your name blank?" But she said a name. I'm not saying what it is on the air because I choose not to. It's nobody's business but mine.
Could I hear it when we stop recording?
I've already told you.
Okay.
You just don't remember it.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she mentioned a name that I knew that this person somehow knew, and it's not John or Bob, it's not a common name. It's off the beaten trail. So she mentioned this first name. Is your name this? And then I was like, what the fuck? This is not... You couldn't just pull that. It was too random.
Right.
That's when I was like taken aback, and that's when she gave me her number. So I called her. Now, she was not my mother.
Okay.
She is a woman from Florida, also a woman who gave up her child for adoption and was a member of the Triad and was now sort of an adoption activist. So she was really into it. So she stayed on those boards a lot, not necessarily for her own, because she had found her children, but for others.
So she tried to find the kids that she gave up for adoption, and now assisting others link with their. Okay,
yes. So she was an adoption.
That's an interesting story.
Yeah.
To have to travel that way in life to
So she was very active on those boards.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, talking to other, encouraging other parents, and she was also into the legal thing, trying to get laws changed for adoptees. So yes, for her it was a motivating thing. But she knew my mother.
Okay.
From
back in the day.
Yeah, from back in the day. So she was familiar with her story. She knew that Joan gave up a child for adoption. I just let my mom's name slide. So she said, I think I know your mother. Are you going to be around for the next, however? And I said, this tells you where my thinking was, because when something like this happens, this isn't usually your thinking. So I said, well, I have to go get bagels.
Yeah, it was total shock. Yeah, you weren't thinking rationally.
Yeah. And I went and got those fucking bagels.
You better have after saying that.
So I guess she actually said, I'll call her and I'll arrange her to call you.
Oh my God, that must have been crazy emotions.
Yeah, imagine where my head was when I was going to get those fucking bagels.
Fucking pumpernickel bread.
So when I got back, my long, torturous search, the phone rang, and Joan Westbury, my mother, was on the other end of the phone.
That is crazy. In a day.
Yes,
You don't hear about that.
I had a long adoption search. It lasted one day.
Wow.
And in a sense, it couldn't have been a more there could be in adoption, there could be all kinds of outcomes.
Right.
There could be, your mother was a prostitute, all kinds of shit.
Raped or something.
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to find. But more often than not, I think it's more what my story was. And that's that Joan was a young girl. She got
in over her head.
In over her head. She got knocked up at 13 and then had a baby at 14. Her mom felt that she was too much of a wild child to be able to, Joan wanted her mother to raise me as a child, I assume, as like a son. But
which is too much for a grandparent.
Yeah, exactly. And, there was, it's easy for a 14-year-old girl to think that way.
Right.
And she was always afraid that it would become a tug of war or that kind of thing. So it was a very innocent story. Girl gets knocked up by some guy. And
well, do you know that some guy?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Can we hear that?
You know what? I'm going to say his name. So if anyone knows where the fuck he is.
You're going to get me in trouble now?
Why? It's a fact. This is a fact. The man's name is...
Okay.
And he's a rolling stone.
Okay.
Papa was a rolling stone. Here's an example of that. I have a biological brother, who is 6 months my younger.
Wow. That's like an impossible Irish twin. Because you need at least full 9 months, right?
Yeah. And it just so happens that I think all of my biological siblings, none of us have the exact same parentage.
Okay.
So,
but we're that close in age?
Well, no. So that was, according to what I've been told, he was going with a girl, and then she went to Europe for some reason, and while in Europe, he had a dalliance with my mother. Named
what was your mom doing in Europe?
My mother wasn't Europe. It was while his girlfriend was away in Europe.
Okay.
So she went off to Germany or someplace, and so he...
Was he the same age as your mother?
No, he was older. He was I think he might have been a senior.
Okay.
So he was closer to 18 at the time, or 17, in that age. I've seen a picture of him from the high school yearbook, too. So, so what he did was, so he had sex with Joan and got her pregnant. And then the girlfriend came back, and she went to him with this information, and he did the old, "I'm mine."
Right. Yeah.
I didn't do it. Wasn't me. And so then he went on to marry the girl who came back. because I guess he got her pregnant too, and then he did the right thing there and married her. Mm-hmm. But then, and that's where my brother was born. But then he let out on them completely at a certain point. Like, he just ran. So he ditched that family and moved on.
Do you have,
and that's the last.
Last I heard of him.
That's the last biological, evidence of him I have. And he could have another family. I could have more siblings. Who knows?
Right.
So the last thread I found of him was there.
What did he do professionally?
No, I don't recall.
What about Joan?
Joan, she's done a lot of stuff, but she's a waitress. She was a waitress, and just a person. Right. All right. Let's talk about Joan. So Joan was a very cool person.
Cool.
She's very liberal-minded. We had a lot in common. It was very.
The apple doesn't fall too far.
Exactly. It was very clear that we had a lot of the same. That I got your DNA.
So you're mama's boy.
I think I'm a nice amalgam because I don't really look like her. I got this.
Okay.
We got the same cheeks.
Okay.
And in the one picture I saw of my father, I think I had the same nose, although mine's been broken now, so it might not look exact. But I think we had the same nose. So, yeah. So Joan, she had me, and she wanted to, like she said, she wanted to, but she looked for me.
She was looking for you.
Yeah.
How long did it take her to find? Like, your search was a day. How long was her search?
Years, and she never found me.
Oh, man.
Guess why?
Why?
The red herring.
Which was?
The name.
Uh-huh.
She didn't give me that name.
Right.
This is the wrinkle. This is interesting, folks. So if you're in a triad, if you're a member of the triad and you're having trouble finding someone, this is what I think they do. The adoption agency gave me that name. They told my mother that my parents gave me that name.
Uh-huh.
And they told...
It's like a fail-safe for them, too, so you can't go back and find.
Exactly. And they told my parents that Joan had given me that name.
That's kind of a dick move.
Total dick move.
That's a real dick move. It's...
Who is that person, I wonder?
It's...
You know what I mean?
That's not cool.
Who is it who named me? For that brief moment, some fucker named me. I'm curious as to why. And, why that name, too? You know what I mean?
So when your adopted parents got you, they got you with the name Scott?
No, they got me with the original name and had it changed.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? The original name was told to them, was given by my mother, birth mother.
Right.
Not the case. It's a red herring. They insert a red herring on purpose.
So wait, they gave your adopted mother a different name.
Let's just say for the sake of example, my name is Howard.
Okay.
Just pull a name out of the air.
All right.
The adoption agency says to my now adopted parents,
yeah,
here's your new son. His name is Howard, but you have every right to change it. He was named by his mother because now you're his parents, so you have a right to change his name.
Oh, I thought.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I thought they...
But then they go to the adopted mother. So if someone requests information of some kind, the name that they will
give you
get
the original
back.
name.
So my mother, Joan, when she finally started, the name that they got
for, let's say,
was
Howard.
Howard.
Yeah, okay.
Boom.
I got you.
Exactly. So it's like a red herring.
Okay.
Which makes... So that's how she stopped. She was looking for, quote unquote, Howard.
So this is for people that may be adopted out there. This could definitely help.
Yeah.
Help them.
If you don't know they do that, guess what? At least they did then.
Right.
And that's what we're dealing with. I'm born in 1970, so if you're from the same age range, although by now you probably either found somebody or whatever.
So okay. So that was 97. We're in 2014.
Well, let me talk more about 97 because it's an amazing experience.
All right.
The only thing I can equate what it felt like was being in love.
That's awesome.
For like at least a month. I was walking 2 inches off the ground everywhere I was walking. And like Joan and I would talk on the phone every day.
Everything was right in the world.
Yeah, exactly. It was so much
bring
like
you down.
It was so much like a romance. It was ridiculous because we were on the phone, we're gaga with each other, we're finding out all kinds. I mean, it's obviously it's not a romance, but it's the closest thing.
Right.
Everybody's feeling those giddy feelings. Everything is right with the world. Yeah, I mean, it is so much so that it was Joan who went to her old friend and said, listen, I got to tell you something. When we were kids, you know your husband? Yeah, I fucked him too and had a kid that you don't know about. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing and being rude. And the woman's reaction was, oh my God, that's wonderful. My son has a brother.
How grown up.
This is Mike Chanel's.
Right.
Yeah.
So that woman, she was still friends with Joan all those years? And then she's...
but, you know, as time goes by,
Yeah.
you still know people, you know where they live and that kind of thing.
Wow, how grown up of that woman to accept that. I would
Very much so. I spoke with her. We had a great talk. Everything went, really well. She was overjoyed.
Wow.
She just saw it as another connection for her son, who was an only child. However, she told him, and think of it from his perspective, he was a guy who his father had run out on them.
Right.
Now you find out
you got a brother.
Not only did he run out on you, he fucked some other woman at the same time, and you have a brother who's practically your age, who is your age, he's 6 months younger. So he did not take the news so well. So I guess he had some problems. I think he might have ended up in jail. I don't know. I don't recall the details, but
is he from Florida too?
Yeah, he was still in Florida at that time. I don't know if he is now. And he had a daughter. That much I knew.
Any chance?
And he goes by the name of Noel.
Any chance you're gonna reach out and try to find him again one day?
He knows where I am. I mean, he knows my name.
Yeah, but
I'm a firm believer in if entering that guy's life fucked it up, I'm not going to bother him. You know what I mean?
Sounds like you're brewing the same stew as...
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I'm open and here. You know what I mean? It really... You have to think of it from their perspective.
He's probably thinking the same thing right now that you're saying.
But not true.
And that'll keep you away from each other.
No, because I've reached out to him before. You know, he didn't want to.
But age can make you...
I understand, and I've talked to him a few times, like before, like I talked to him, and then maybe I talked to him a year or two later. Mm-hmm. I think I even talked to him either post or around when he got busted, somewhere around there. Uh-huh. And I did. I put out dude, I'm here. You know, right. You have my information. The door is always open.
So you might be getting a call one day.
Maybe. Yeah. And it's not like I would run away from it. Now, we look nothing alike, though.
Yeah,
it's very funny. He's redhead and freckled and a ginger.
Did you get to actually meet Joan in person?
Yeah. I will get there. So that's Dad's side. So she was bald. Like I said, we were all in this elation period. Find out Joan has a son and a daughter. Older son. Now she was married to Eric's father. His name is Eric. And, but he passed in either, it's like, was it a suicide? Was it a drug overdose? In a pool kind of thing, He was high and in a pool. They don't know, if it was an accidental overdose, he drowned, but that's what happened to him. So it was dope. Yeah. So he passed. And then she met a really cool guy named Anthony Westbury from England, in America, and they're still married today. And Vanessa, my sister, who just had a baby, is their daughter.
Awesome.
Yes. Who is a lot like me from what I in the way she acts and behaves, and there's a family resemblance. There's a lot of weight issues in my family, too, because of the diabetes. Yeah. So Joan was big. Vanessa's big. I have problems with weight. If I don't watch it, I put it on, like, really quickly.
I can get very skinny, or I can bulk up like really quick. I can go in and out. I've been trying to keep the weight that I am now.
For the past, I want to say 3 or 4 years, I've been working on that, and to some success.
Movement. It's all about movement.
It really is. And I've been bad on that part.
Move and not gorging yourself.
Not gorging yourself is what I've been very good at in the last few years.
That's good.
Yes.
Because I can eat a lot.
Yeah. And when you're diabetes, you double down on everything.
Yeah.
Like almost, you can't eat anything that's good.
Take me to the first visit.
All right. So the first visit. So they live in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
as we come to find out. So it's like, oh, wow, now we have instant relatives in Florida. Disney.
Yeah.
It was around December. So it was right around it was a little bit before the holidays. It might even been a day or two after. I'm not even sure. Matter of fact, I think it was. I think it was like the 26th or 27th of December we went, because we had the time and it just seemed to make sense. So we went down, and it was the coldest fucking Florida had been on record. And it really was. I'd never, everyone was like, man, and which is sucky because they had a big picnic cookout kind of thing planned for the second day, and it was freezing. But yeah, so we went down, we met Joan, and it was amazing.
That's great.
You meet all these people. But I did say one thing to Joan at the time, which has sort of come to pass. I said, it's great. We're calling each other now. We're having such a good time. But, in a couple of years, we'll just be those relatives that you don't call anymore.
And?
To some degree, that's true. But I don't think Joan also has admitted to me that she's not the best, phone call or communicator in that respect. And I said, me too. So we don't talk like we did when we first met. That's for damn sure. Maybe we'll talk once or twice a year now. But
now you got to check in, man.
I know. And it's not for I don't see it as a slight that she doesn't check in on me, and I hope and I think she doesn't necessarily see it as a slight, especially now that I talk more with Vanessa, because I'm sure whatever I tell Vanessa goes to Joan.
It's funny. My sister's name is Vanessa. I talk to my mom every day. I try to at least call her every day.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Dude, that's one thing I will say about you. You are the fucking nicest guy on the planet. They don't make people like you.
All right. Could you say that again in the recording?
You are I'm not even bullshitting, folks. This guy is the fucking nicest guy I've ever met.
Please.
It is so, you have such a good moral core. It is ridiculous.
Well, I like to think. I think so. I try.
You do. I've never met anyone like you. It's fucking scary. You're not human.
Yeah. So
he really is, folks. He really is a very nice person. He'll give you the shirt off your back.
Thank you. Thank you. Please leave a review on iTunes.
Yeah. So just for that alone, leave him a review on iTunes. He deserves it.
All right. So. An amazing journey to find out who you are. You finally meet. Now it's 1 to twice a year calling, and that's where you're at. Is there any other plans to?
I mean, well, it's sort of like. Don't get me wrong. It's not. We're not estranged or anything like that. It's just they're in Florida. We're up here. You have your lives. Mm-hmm. Facebook has been awesome for keeping that,
So she's on Facebook?
Oh, yeah, she's on Facebook.
Oh, cool.
So we do all that.
Good.
And Joan is, but she's not a Facebook person. I don't even think she has a fucking picture yet. You know what I mean? And she's one of those. She's like my real mom. So, and let me address that, because that'll come up at some point usually in this discussion. How were my real parents, about finding Joan? They were fine. I think there may be a little bit of an awkwardness to it, but for the most part, they too were happy to find out that it was a nice story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That it
could
worked
have been
out
a terrible story.
Yeah, and that it worked out well for me.
Right.
And that, I have
it's about you. So yeah, so everything in the end, it was I guess a closure.
And now I know that background.
Right.
I am so American, it is ridiculous. I have a great-great-great-grandfather who was captured at Gettysburg.
Wow.
Fighting for the South.
Oh, that's not cool.
Most of my roots come from
the South.
But more than South, New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
New Orleans and Mobile.
The Bayou?
Yeah, and Mobile, Alabama, from boat people, riverboat people, and that kind of shit.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's interesting.
It is very interesting. The side was there, and the Mobile side, which is Joan's side.
Wow.
Because my grandfather, who I met before he passed, we made a second trip down after my son was born. And the trip we went to Mobile, because we just happened to be going to New Orleans.
Right.
So we went to New Orleans, and then we went to Mobile. And that's when I found out I was fucking diabetic. Because on that trip...
It's a big food place, right?
Yeah, but Joan noticed. She noticed right away.
What were the symptoms?
I was fucking complaining of headaches.
Okay.
But more importantly, she watched me suck down like a 2-liter bottle of maybe lemonade or whatever the fuck it was, just like trying to quench a thirst, like unnaturally, because that's what I was doing. That's usually my biggest diabetic symptom.
Well, I want to thank you, Scott, for telling me this story.
That's it? That's all you want?
I do 45 minutes, like a segment around like that, around 40.
All right, cool. I enjoyed telling it. You got my exclusive.
It. And thank you for sharing that. And you probably helped some people out there. You never
I
know.
hope so. All I can say is it's a nice closure. And, like my brother, who's also adopted, he has no interest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that is. I don't know why. Everybody's different. And we don't even really talk about it. So, but if you want to, I hope this helps.
Yeah,
maybe there's a tip in there.
And he can have that happy ending if he chooses it too. So it's really about...
Well, the ending is...
Right.
Not every ending may be as nice as mine. That's the truth.
Right.
Prepare yourselves for... I prepared myself for bad.
Right.
You have to.
Right.
Or prepare yourself for the person may be dead. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You just, And maybe that's why my brother doesn't do it. Because at the end of the day, you could find far worse things than you might want to think. So, search your soul, folks. If you're adopted, wherever you're at. Triad.
All right. Thanks again, Scott.
All right, cool.
All right. Good chat with Scott. If you get a chance, check out Scott's podcast, ThatMan on FatMan, available on iTunes and Stitcher. Or you can go to his website, thatmanonfatman.com. Thanks again for everybody that's been listening, getting emails and tweets and messages from you guys that love the show from all around the world. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. If you can, please leave a review on iTunes if you're enjoying the show, or Stitcher. And we'll see you next time.